And we are back here at Cleveland Heights with about 5 minutes away from tip-off between the Cleveland Heights Tigers and the Shaw Cardinals. As I mentioned before, the 6-4 Cleveland Heights Tigers entering this game looking to get back into their winning ways of old. They fell to the Lorain Titans 75-71 and will look to use this game, as Coach Mike Cruz called it, as a springboard for their play this weekend coming up in the Fly Into the Hoop tournament down in Kettering, Ohio, one of the best nationally recognized tournaments in the country. Before then, Friday night, the Cleveland Heights Tigers will play against Warrensville Heights at home. That's Friday, January 18th at 7:30 p.m. in a Lake Erie League game. And then Sunday, they head south, do the Tigers, Coach Mike Cruz, to the Fly Into the Hoops tournament. They play Sunday, January 20th at 4:45 p.m. That is against Cincinnati Hughes, the Big Red of Cincinnati Hughes. Fly Into the Hoops tournament. The Tigers played in that last year. Of course, I mentioned tons of nationally recognized teams. On Friday, IMG Academy versus Huntington Prep. What more can you ask for there? 8:15, that's more or less a primetime game in terms of high school basketball. Two of the best programs in the country. Tons of notable alumni coming from all sorts of athletics from IMG Academy as well as Huntington Prep. And then more notable games Saturday, January 19th, Prolific Prep versus Springfield, Ohio, as well as Olentangy Liberty versus Centerville, Ohio. On Sunday, when the Tigers play, the Tigers will play on Monday, January 21st. The Tigers are taking on Hughes from Cincinnati. Later in that day, at 8:15 p.m., Pickerington Central out of Columbus, Ohio, will take on Madison Trotwood, an area team near Kettering in the Dayton area. But then, of course, LaMelo Ball and LaMelo Ball for Spire Academy will be taking on Prolific Prep at 1:15 p.m. 2 games before Cleveland Heights take on Cincinnati Hughes in that premier tournament. So lots to look forward to. The Tigers need to get themselves back into winning shape, says Coach Mike Cruz, if they have any hope of succeeding in that showcase down in Dayton. So we've got starting lineup for the Tigers. It is pretty much your standard starting lineup. Starting at the point guard, a bit of a tandem will be Christian Dillard as well as Anthony Johnson taking on the point guard duties. And then number 3, playing the 3 is number 12, Nigel Martin. He's averaging 20.9 points per game, coming off an 18-point performance against the Lorain Titans. And then, of course, big Jalen Withers, number 24, the Louisville commit, averaging 18.3 points per game. And then Jamal Coles, one of the best rebounders in the Cleveland area and shot blocker as well. Jamal Coles will be starting at the center position for the Cleveland Heights Tigers. And this lineup has been seen before, as this was the starting lineup in the Lorain Titans game. But Coach Mike Cruz not afraid to go to many different starting lineups, as he's used about 6 or 7 different starting lineups so far this season, floating in and out of the starting lineup there. Harris Kern, Rob Morgan as well. It's great to have tons of talented guards. And Manny Hill as well. You got to add Manny Hill in there for the Tigers. Really an embarrassment of riches at the guard position for Coach Mike Cruz and the Tigers. So a lot of versatility, size, as well as defensive capabilities allow the Tigers to do a lot of different things. That will be the starting lineup for the Tigers tonight. We're now under a minute away from tip-off here from Cleveland Heights. Both teams heading to their bench. Cleveland Heights will be wearing their home gray uniforms with the yellow lettering and yellow numbers. And Shaw in their all-black shorts with gray and red trim on those uniforms. So we are now about 30 seconds away from team introductions and the playing of our national anthem here. We'll get you the starting lineup for the Shaw Cardinals as well as the Tigers momentarily. But at this moment, we'll stop for the playing of our national anthem. And there you have the playing of our national anthem. We will now pause inside the Nova Title Agency pregame show for the team introductions of the Shaw Cardinals and the Cleveland Heights Tigers. So now we got our starting lineups for the Shaw Cardinals as well as the Cleveland Heights Tigers. Starting for the Shaw Cardinals will be number 2, point guard Bernard Manuel. And then number 4, Clavion Sanders starting at the small forward. Number 11, Randy Harris, combo guard forward as well. Number 12, Jerome Polk as well, another versatile 2-3 guard. And of course, number 23, TJ Square. So headed to the center circle for the jump ball will be Clavion Sanders for the Cardinals. At a height disadvantage against Jalen Withers. Jalen Withers standing at 6'9". I think you could make the argument that Sanders, with his hair, is 6'4". He's listed at 6'4". Certainly on paper, Withers should win this jump ball. Just moments away from the beginning. The Tigers going right to left on your computer screen. And Withers taps down back, but it's directly to Bernard Manuel. Manuel goes straight up. His shot may have been an alley-oop, but now the ball fought for and taken by Jalen Withers. A couple of missed opportunities on the opening possession for the Shaw Cardinals, but now the Tigers back into their offense. Anthony Johnson, as we mentioned, that big point guard type, hands it off to Christian Diller. Diller driving, has it swiped at, and now kicked back out. Withers contested three-pointer, no good. Rattles out and rebounded by Jerome Polk. Polk now in the corner to Square. Square driving baseline, wraparound pass to Manuel. Manuel from 14, no good. Offensive rebound by Harris up and rims out into the waiting arms of Jalen Withers. That's rebound number 2 for Jalen Withers. He can take it himself. He step back jumper from the elbow, no good, and rebounded by TJ Square. A minute has elapsed, and Polk steps into the three-pointer. Rather, that's Randy Harris. So 3-0 for the Shaw Cardinals. In transition there, off of the missed basket, the Cardinals make the Tigers pay with an open three-pointer. Withers now drives ahead. Offensive foul, though, drawn by Bernard Manuel. That's a common play that the Tigers run. They run Nigel Martin and Jalen Withers off the very same screen on the right elbow. Try to shed the man of Jalen Withers to get an open jumper for Martin, or Jalen Withers driving to the basket. So checking in now for the Tigers, Jalen Davis checks in for Jamal Coles. That was the first foul on Jalen Withers, first team foul as well. Now the Cardinals into their press break. Stepping through the double team was Bernard Manuel. The foul will be called on the floor, however. 3-0, Cardinals leading. 6:36 left to go. That's the second team foul on the Tigers. That'll be Cardinals basketball underneath the basket. Inbounded from Square. Square, he found Sanders, but not able to put that one in. And in the backcourt, Christian Dillard fouled near the half-court line. So that foul charged to Bernard Manuel. That's the first foul for the Cardinals. And Dillard now with the basketball at the point. Tigers with spacing on the floor. Nigel Martin now wide open into the lane. Has it stripped and out of bounds. If not for good hands from Jerome Polk, Nigel Martin would have had an uncontested layup there. And the inbound pass off the back of the defender from Anthony Johnson. What a play. The basketball IQ from Anthony Johnson. The defender had his back turned to the inbound, and Johnson threw it right off of his back. Grabbed it at the low block off the backboard for the and one. What a play from the senior. He'll step to the line, try to make it 3 points. No good there. So 3-2 is your score. 6:15 left to go in the first quarter. Manuel to the left wing. That's Jerome Polk back out to JVN Sanders. Sanders tries to step through the double team, nearly drags the pivot foot, but a jump ball is called. It'll be Tigers basketball. A little bit of jawing there from Sanders and Johnson. But nonetheless, possession back to the Cleveland Heights Tigers. Christian Dillard up the right side to the right wing. Nigel Martin in the corner. Nearly the same play. Jalen Withers driving, nearly traveled with it, but threw up a wild shot. Thrown off of TJ Square. Somehow called out of bounds off of the Tigers. The Tigers making their case. And the referee was indeed pointing the wrong direction. So the ball will be inbounded by Anthony Johnson. Johnson directly into Nigel Martin. Martin wants the deep three-pointer off the back rim. No good. Rebounded by Square. Square wants to push it off the miss. Found himself in a little bit of trouble. Gives it off to Randy Harris. Harris at the right elbow. In some serious pain there. Reaching for his left foot. The layup up and good from Square. But Randy Harris in a lot of pain there. Nigel Martin back the other way. Up and good. Martin coast to coast. He took the inbound in the backcourt. Make it 5-4. Shaw leads. Jerome Polk on the left wing, guarded by Jalen Davis. Straight on three-pointer from Sanders. No good. Rebounded by Johnson. Anthony Johnson wants to push it. He's got it in the left hand. Had a beautiful spin move last week against Lorraine, and Jalen Withers launches from the left wing, and it is good. The Tigers into their press break, leaving Randy Harris wide open, though. He'll have to pass out of danger. Instead, he travels one too many steps. 7-5, the Tigers lead. 4:49 left to go in this first quarter. And Rob Morgan checking in for Anthony Johnson. And we've got a momentary stoppage. Looks as if Rob Morgan has to take off his shooting sleeve. So off goes the shooting sleeve for Rob Morgan. He's got some tape on his elbows. That was most notably from last game against the Lorain Titans as he dove on the floor. Got some serious floor burn last game trying to corral a loose ball. He takes the screen from Withers, driving right side, now kicks it out to Martin. Martin driving, out of control, and offensive foul. So that's the second offensive foul so far on the Tigers. That'll be the first on Nigel Martin. But the Tigers going to go full court press here. Inbounded to Harris for the Cardinals. Harris picks up his dribble in the backcourt. Over to Square. Square across the timeline. Now driving into the paint. Stopped in his tracks by Davis, but just kisses it off the backboard on the floater. 7-7 now. Rob Morgan on the right wing. Back out to Nigel Martin. Martin going left. Stops at the free throw line. Jumper. It's good. 9-7. Nigel Martin with 4 points. Now the Tigers going with the double team in the backcourt. Rob Morgan on the defense there. Randy Harris gives it over to Manuel. The Tigers going man-to-man. They've shown a zone at a few points this year on defense, but most of the time they go man-to-man. So here is Jerome Polk. Polk now to Sanders. Sanders pulls up, airmails the baseline jumper back into Nigel Martin for transition. He goes up and puts it off the glass, but no good. So Nigel Martin will step to the free throw line and shoot 2 free throws. That's one of the things that makes Nigel Martin so dangerous in transition is he's 6'4", and agile as any player in the state of Ohio. But what he does best is when he attacks the basket, he hangs for such a long time in the air, able to double pump it and then put it off the glass and nearly put that one in for an and one. So 9-7 is your score. That free throw just barely grazing the front rim. Substitution on is Manny Hill for the Tigers. Very small lineup right now as Manny Hill checks in for Jalen Davis. 3 different point guards, Christian Dillard, Rob Morgan, Manny Hill in there for the Tigers. That second free throw from Martin is good, and the Cardinals rush up a shot there, but the offensive rebound corralled by Sanders. Sanders tosses up his own shot. Nowhere close, rebounded by Withers. He's got 4 already. Rob Morgan now in transition, right down the lane, puts it up and good. 12-7 now your score. Rob Morgan, they didn't stop the basketball, and Rob Morgan had an easy lane to the basket. A timeout is called as Withers steals it on the floor. The Tigers taking a little bit of exception to the Shaw Cardinals stepping over Jalen Withers there. But a timeout is called for the Tigers. 3:06 left to go in this first quarter. The score 12-7 with Nigel Martin leading the way with 5 points and Jalen Withers with 3. Just a 30-second timeout here for the Tigers. You can hear the Cleveland Heights Marching Band have been a very good addition to this year's basketball games. Not to mention the always peppy and always a great show from the Cleveland Heights Tigers cheerleaders as well as dance squad. Always making the home games for the Tigers, and any game really an event that you got to be at. So 3:06 left to go here in this first quarter. The score 12-7, the Tigers leading. Manny Hill will assume the point guard position right now. Gives it over to Christian Dillard. Dillard on high. Now the Cardinals going into a little bit of a zone into Jalen Withers at the post. Wants to go up but loses the basketball. And a jump ball is called as Clavion Sanders was laying on the floor there with the basketball. Jalen Withers just came over and tied the ball up. And off the inbound pass, it is nearly a steal and out of bounds off of the Shaw Cardinals. Coach Reggie Harwell not pleased at all with his team there with the press break. Multiple turnovers thus far for the Cardinals. So Rob Morgan will inbound it to Dillard. Left wing now Manny Hill. The Cardinals in that a little bit of a 2-3 zone, almost like a 2-2-1. Manny Hill wide open on the left wing. Launches, it's good! Manny Hill with a pure shot. Now the Cardinals back in transition. That pass is airmailed and into the Cleveland Heights cheerleaders. So yet another turnover as the score balloons to 15-7. The Tigers lead. So mark that down as the third turnover on the Shaw Cardinals early on. 2:17 left to go in this opening quarter. Nigel Martin from 18, no good, too strong. And rebounded by Clavian Sanders. Sanders will give it over to Square in the backcourt, picks up his dribble with 2 minutes left. And now the pass nearly intercepted, out of bounds off of the fingertips of Sanders. So it will be Heights basketball. And already getting a little chippy. Rob Morgan, always been a contentious player for the Tigers. One of his MOs is to get into the head of the opponent at all times. That has happened many, many times this season against Lorraine as well as St. Ignatius. Sometimes the emotion gets the best of the Tigers, though. Under 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Withers, near corner, three-pointer is no good. And back the other way for the Cardinals, it is TJ Square. Square over to Sanders on the baseline, tries a spin move. Back out to Ramon Hassan. And a foul on Cleveland Heights. That will be Rob Morgan, goes as a blocking foul. That is the fourth foul of the quarter on the Tigers. 15-7, the Tigers lead. 1:35 left to go in this first quarter. Sanders quickly off the inbound, misses and rebounded by Withers. Withers nearly throws it away. Blocked away by Ramon Hassan. 1:28 left to go in the opening quarter. 15-7 is your score. Christian Dillard always careful with the basketball. Over to Manny Hill. Manny Hill. Now Jamal Cole's driving baseline with that left hand. Throws it up. Hits every part of the rim, and it goes in. And 17-7. Now we've got a whistle. And a delay of game warning will be called on the Tigers. So now the Tigers up 10 will back it out and not get the full court press. So Ramon Hassan across the half court line. Rob Morgan there clapping in his face. TJ Square down low to Sanders. Sanders from 8 feet elevates and hits. 17-9 now, 55 seconds left. Manny Hill stops at the free throw line. Rob Morgan left wing is short and off the rim. Rebounded by TJ Square. 45 seconds left now. And Withers nearly tips it away, but right into the hands of Square, spinning. Back out to Polk. Polk, three-pointer, he hits it. 17-12 with 33 seconds left now. Manny Hill across half court. He'll dribble out at the point. That's 6 points so far for Jerome Polk. And Rob Morgan looks like he'll hold for the last shot for the Tigers. 17 seconds left in the quarter. The Cardinals in their zone defense. Up at the top of that zone is Tommy Bibb, number 3. He just checked in. 8 seconds left in the quarter. Dillard with the floater. No good. Rebounded right by Rob Morgan. Has his shot blocked and out of bounds with 4.2 seconds left in this first quarter. 17-12 is your score. So Nigel Martin back in for Christian Dillard. With 4.2 seconds left to go in the quarter, the Tigers going to need to draw something up quickly here. Anthony Johnson will be the inbounder. He's leaning. Rob Morgan there. The quick inbound. It's good. What a play there. Rob Morgan coming off the pick to the left block. Inbounded from Anthony Johnson. He put it up quickly. 19-12 is your score. So the Cleveland Heights Tigers led by as many as 10 points, but at the end of the quarter they'll settle for a 7-point lead. And at the end of this first quarter, here are your Cleveland Heights Dental stats. Nigel Martin leading the way for the Tigers. He's got 5 points, as well as Rob Morgan has 4 points. Manny Hill with 3, Christian Dillard with 2, Jamal Coles with 2, as well as Jalen Withers has 3. So the team stats for the Cleveland Heights Tigers, they've got 19 points. They are 8 of 15 from the field. They are 8 of 16 from the field, for 50%. 2 of 6 for 33% from three-point range. And they've got 9 rebounds, 2 of which coming on the offensive end. So after one quarter, each team with 2 turnovers. On the other side, the Shaw Cardinals with 12 points. They are 5 of 12 from the field for 42%. 2 for 3 for 67% from three-point range. And they've got 9 rebounds as well. So pretty evenly matched so far. Cleveland Heights getting more shots off than the Shaw Cardinals. They are taking better care of the basketball as well, not just on the turnover margin. So 19-12 is your score. It will be Shaw Cardinals basketball, I believe, coming out of this. Coming out of the first quarter, we've actually got a spill, it looks like, right in front of the Shaw Cardinals bench. So a short delay here to start the second quarter. Leading the way for the Shaw Cardinals, Jerome Polk has 6 points. Timothy Square III has 4 points. Clavion Sanders with 2 points. And that is all the scoring for the Shaw Cardinals. Mentioned in the Nova Title Agency pregame show, not a very deep bench for the Shaw Cardinals. They've got 5 players. They've only had 7 players play so far, and only 3 of whom have scored for the Cardinals. So we're about to begin second quarter action. It's 19-12, the Tigers lead. Still mopping up that spill in front of the Shaw Cardinals bench. So to begin the second quarter, Rob Morgan will be at the point. And the Cardinals still in their zone. Right into Nigel Martin at 8 feet. He launches. The right-handed floater is good. 21-12 now your score. Nigel Martin humming along with 7 points. So now the Tigers applying that defensive pressure, over and back violation on the Cardinals. So 21-12, the Tigers have caused, as now the statistics have updated, their 4th turnover early on from the Shaw Cardinals. So the 5 out on the floor for the Tigers: Anthony Johnson, Rob Morgan, Jalen Withers, Jamal Coles, and Nigel Martin. Anthony Johnson wanted the alley-oop there for Nigel Martin, but couldn't complete it. Jalen Withers jump stop, floats one up there, no good, rebounded by the Cardinals. And ahead now that was Bernard Manuel. His shot was up and looked like it hit the backboard before Jamal Coles was able to get to it. So that'll be a goaltending violation. 21-14 now the score. That's the first 2 points for Bernard Manuel. And Anthony Johnson on the right wing tries to force one into Nigel Martin, but it's thrown away. Back from Sanders. Sanders has his shot blocked by Withers. What a absolute block by Jalen Withers. Swatted that one with the right hand. It was Jaquan Pampley in transition. Boy, oh boy, that is what you love to see if you're the Tigers. Jalen Withers, that 6'9" frame. He's got a wingspan that measures out to 6'11". And a floater coming from Pampley. Rims out, no good. Rebound to Jamal Coles. Anthony Johnson wants to push it and gets it to Rob Morgan. Morgan at the baseline. Blocking foul there, called by Bernard Manuel. And Coach Reggie Harwell got to watch himself there on the Shaw bench. He's getting dangerously close to a technical, been very vocal so far through the first, what has it been, 9 minutes so far here tonight at Cleveland Heights. Anthony Johnson to inbound. Jalen Withers at the top of the three-point line. He elevates from there, no good. Long rebound out to Square. Square in transition now. Left-handed layup is up and good. That was Jerome Polk, and a full timeout called as it's now back to a 5-point deficit. The Cleveland Heights Tigers leading 21-16. Jalen Withers has got 7 for the Tigers, but a couple of careless turnovers there and near turnovers from the Tigers. Got to be talked to by Coach Mike Cruz for the Tigers. In and around Northeast Ohio high school basketball, it's a big day for Cleveland.com top 5 teams rather, as the 15-0 Spire Institute, the Spire Academy, will take on the 10-0 Brush Arcs in a battle of 2 of the best teams in the state of Ohio, if not 2 of the best teams in the city of Cleveland. Currently, with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, the Spire Institute leads 49-34 in a very contentious game so far, as there's already been 1 ejection in that game and a bit of an altercation as well. So we'll see what LaMelo Ball and Rocket Watts are able to do for Spire Institute. As I mentioned before, they will be playing before the Tigers do this Monday, January 21st, on Martin Luther King Day. They'll be playing at 1:15 Spire Academy versus Prolific Prep. The Tigers in the fly into the hoop tournament, but Jalen Withers, the two-handed throwdown along the baseline from Rob Morgan, makes it 23-16. So now it's back to a 7-point lead for the Tigers. Step back three-pointer is short from Jerome Polk to Anthony Johnson. Johnson nearly lost the handle. The big man in transition. Martin wanted the corner three. Will drive instead. Avoids the defender. Nicely puts the layup up and in. 25-16. Martin with 9 points. So Manuel on the left wing. Double teamed by Rob Morgan there. Sanders swings it over to Tommy Bibb. Shot there, no good, but the offensive rebound by TJ Square. Morgan and Anthony Johnson fought themselves out of that rebound there. Luckily enough, Tommy Bibb misses the layup and given away by Johnson. Boy, real sloppy sequence there for the Tigers. As Jerome Polk dribbles it back out, double team coming at the point. Pampley's got to get rid of it. Into the corner now. Ramon Hassan, no good, rebounded. Pampley throws it up and falls hard. Foul coming from Jalen Withers. So 25-16, 5:05 left to go in this first half. That will be the second foul on Jalen Withers. The 5th foul on the Tigers this half. Jaquan Pampley steps to the free throw line. First free throw, too strong and off the back rim. So a fire sale change here for the Tigers. Coming back in, Jalen Davis, Manny Hill, Christian Dillard. So the 5 out on the floor there. Jalen Withers, Jamal Coles. Rather, that's Jalen Withers, Jalen Davis, Nigel Martin, Manny Hill, and Christian Dillard. Looked like Ramon Hassan was getting a little bit of a talking to there from head referee Nate DeCesar. The free throw from Pampley is good, so he hits the second of 2, making it 25-17. 5:03 left to go in this first half. Dillard gets the Tigers into their offense, swings it to Davis. Davis at the right wing. Now Manny Hill on the left wing. Between the legs dribble, gets it to Dillard. Dillard driving right elbow. Now he'll kick it out. Davis wasn't ready for it. Now corrals it. Back out to Manny Hill. Deep three-pointer. No good, and the ball bounces before the Tigers could get to it. Back to Sanders. What a strange rebound there, as Dillard seemed like he was just looking at the ball and let it bounce on the floor. Into the post for the Cardinals. Randy Harris reverses off the glass and good. What good post work there from Randy Harris. Gets himself on the board, makes it 25-19. So Jalen Davis on the right wing. Now Manny Hill. Martin back out to a wide open Hill. Hill driving. Left-handed layup too strong. Rebounded by Sanders. Sanders now with Withers behind him. Tries to dribble out of danger. Back out to Pampley. Slowing it down is Polk. Polk now driving. And a whistle, actually a timeout will be called. 3:55 left to go here in this second quarter. 25-19 is your score. Cleveland Heights leading by 6. So this timeout brought to you by Panini's Coventry. Panini's Bar and Grill. Get 10% off any game day food purchase if you come in and order at Panini's Coventry today. So it's a full timeout called by the Cardinals. They have 4 remaining this half. Shaw has gone on a bit of a cold streak as they are now 8 of 20 from the field, shooting 40%, and 2 of 4 from three-point range as well. They have 14 rebounds, though, 4 of which coming on the offensive end. The Tigers holding the advantage in the assist ratio, 7-4, and the turnovers, Shaw has 4 and Cleveland Heights has 3. Tigers 11 of 23 from the field for 48%. Now the Shaw Cardinals, they are 3-7, but they're not a team that you can allow to hang around if you're Coach Mike Cruz and the Cleveland Heights Tigers, because they do play hard no matter who they are playing against. They've got, in their losses, they've got some very close losses in there to the Chardon High School, as well as the Glenville Tarblooders, and again against Youngstown East and Cleveland Rhodes. But an offensive foul called against the Cardinals. That one will go against Jaquan Pampley. And did we just get it? We did get a technical foul on the Cardinals. That one will be charged to actually, that one is charged to Nigel Martin. Boy, didn't see what he did there, but this has been a bit of an epidemic for the Tigers. The last 3 games, they've had at least 1 technical foul coming into tonight as well. So that technical foul against the Tigers sends Jerome Polk to the free throw line. He's got 2, and he makes the first. 25-20 now your score. And the second free throw is up and good. So 25-21, it's a 4-point deficit for the Cardinals. This is the closest they've been since early on in the fourth quarter when it was 9-5. With 3:49 left to go in this second quarter, the Cardinals looking to add some momentum before they head into the locker room. TJ Square at the top, leaves it off for Randy Harris. Harris goes up, has his shot blocked again. Another huge block by Withers. And Dillard nearly stepped on the end line. Now Withers wants to go in himself, puts it off the glass, and good. Jalen Withers does it on both ends with 7 points. 27-21 your score. That's Withers' second block of the evening. 3:10 left to go here in this first half. TJ Square on the right wing, guarded by Martin. Back out for Pampley at the point. Wants to go to that left hand, evades Jalen Withers. Now he'll drive, has his shot altered, and now called for goaltending. Jamal Coles is called for the goaltending violation there, as I believe the head referee, Nate DeCesar, said that ball was on its way down. It was mostly a clean block by Jamal Coles. It didn't hit the backboard. However, the ball had already hit its apex and was on its way down. So Coles not able to legally block that shot. Under 3 minutes left now in the first half. Tigers leading 27-23. And Rob Morgan wants his own shot. It is wedged there in between the backboard and the rim. So that officially goes as a jump ball. And the Shaw Cardinals will regained possession with 2:42 left to go in this second quarter. Nearly a travel in the backcourt from Randy Harris. So dribbling it back out will be Pampley. Pampley guarded by Morgan. Wants to drive past him, loses the handle of the ball, and now out of bounds. So yet another turnover from the Cardinals as those have been piling up. Make it 6 in the first half from the Cardinals. Christian Dillard across the timeline. Skip pass from Hill to Morgan. Now Manny Hill open on the left wing. He'll drive it. Nearly stepped on the out of bounds line. But back out to Dillard, back to Morgan. Morgan thought about it, and he double dribbled there. As Morgan thought about that shot too much and then tried to get that drive down the lane. Nonetheless, it is another turnover from the Tigers. So Jerome Polk for the Cardinals will assume the point. He's guarded by Withers. Withers. And the step back from Polk, it's good. What a shot from Jerome Polk. He put Jalen Withers in a blender, 27-26. So Harris Kern will check in for the Tigers. Christian Dillard on the right wing, wants his own shot, puts up the floater, nowhere close, rebounded by Martin. And the putback, he is fouled. Always can count on Nigel Martin. Whenever the Tigers need a lift, he'll hit those offensive boards very well, trying for those putbacks. As now it's a 1-point deficit. The Cardinals trail by 1, 27-26, with Nigel Martin stepping to the free throw line. The first shot from Martin is no good. He's really struggled lately from the free throw line. Martin 6 of 13 in his last 2.5 games, including tonight, from the free throw line. So normally a very good free throw shooter. He'll step to the line for his second. That one is way short there, but nearly rebounded by Kern. Martin gets his own miss and puts it in. Great effort there on the offensive glass from the Tigers. And a foul going the other way on Christian Dillard. Nice job by Jaquan Pampley to draw that foul as he was trying to break the press of the Tigers. That'll be the first foul on Christian Dillard. So the Cardinals now in the bonus. That'll make Pampley the free throw shooter on the 1-and-1. 29-26 is your score. Cleveland Heights leading by 3 for the moment. Pampley shooting the bonus. His first shot is good. Pampley with the high arcing shot. 1:29 left to go in the second quarter. 4 points for Pampley. He's looking for 5. High arcer, and it is up, and it is good as well. So 29-28, a close game here from Cleveland Heights with 1:25 left to go in the half. Dillard at the center circle. Calling out the plays, directing traffic. Now Withers wants Kern in the corner. Instead gets it to a wide open Nigel Martin. Looked like he was slapped on the arm, but instead out of bounds off of the Cardinals. The basketball will stay with Cleveland Heights. 70 seconds left to go in this first half. The inbounder will be Jalen Withers. Anthony Johnson takes one dribble, wide open three-pointer. Is short, though, rebounded by Martin. Slapped out of his hands, into Withers' hands, and one on the blocking foul. So, boy, a little bit of confusion there as Jalen Withers thought he might have been whistled for an offensive foul. The score now 31-28 as Jalen Withers has 9 points. That is the first foul on Clavion Sanders. Free throw is good from Jalen Withers. 63 seconds remain in the first half. Withers with 10 points, he checks out. Back into the game is Rob Morgan, and he deflects the pass right away. Kern wide open to Dillard, left-handed layup. Banks it home and good. So 34-28 and a foul on Rob Morgan. 53.6 seconds left to go. And Coach Mike Cruz pointing to his head to Rob Morgan. Needed Morgan to be smart there and not pick up another foul at the end of the half. However, that will be the 8th team foul on the Tigers, sending the Shaw Cardinals to the free throw line. The score 34-28, a little bit of a late run for the Tigers as the first one is up and it is good. So 34-29, 6 points for Pampley. The second free throw coming now. And it is good as well. So Pampley, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Now 52 seconds left to go in the half. The Tigers lead by 4. And pass from Anthony Johnson, tipped and out of bounds off the hands of Tommy Bibb. So 45 seconds left to go now. Tigers can hold for that last shot if they want to, and they've been known to do that before. As Kern is double-teamed in the corner, take his shot himself, puts it up hard off the glass, but it rattles home there, 36-30. Now is your score. And now the Cardinals in the backcourt double-teamed, and a foul on Anthony Johnson in the backcourt. A tough foul there if you're the Tigers. If you're Anthony Johnson, you just got to let him try to split that double-team, because now that sends the Cardinals to the free throw line. Randy Harris. 36-30 with 26 seconds left to go in the half. That is Jerome Polk's first free throw is up and it is good. He's got 14 points. As I mentioned in the Nova Title Agency pregame show, Jerome Polk does the majority of the scoring for the Cardinals as his second free throw off the friendly rim is good. So 36-32 now. Polk with 15 points rather. Christian Dillard and the Tigers with 17 seconds left to go in the half will hold for the last shot. Dillard with 12 seconds now. 8 seconds. Dillard at the point, now dribbling. Jalen Withers steps into the three-pointer from the right wing. No good. And the rebound tipped around by the Cardinals. It will just be held. And no last shot there. So Cleveland Heights not terribly pleased as Coach Mike Cruz, but the Tigers will head into the locker room with a 4-point lead, 36-32. And you know what that means. You're inside the Nova Title Agency halftime show. The Cleveland Heights Tigers leading 36-32 as we'll bring you some stats here from Cleveland Heights after this quick break. So we are back here at Cleveland Heights High School inside the Nova Title Agency halftime show. The Cleveland Heights Tigers leading 36-32 over the Shaw Cardinals. And the Tigers not necessarily the half that they were looking for against the Cardinals. A little bit sloppier than I think Coach Mike Cruz would have liked. But after one quarter, the Tigers were leading 21-12. And then the Shaw Cardinals made a little bit of a comeback, outscoring the Tigers in the second quarter 17-13. All in all, equaling out to a 36-32 lead for the Cleveland Heights Tigers. Leading the way in points, Nigel Martin with 10 points for the Tigers as well as Jalen Withers has 10. Rob Morgan with 4, Manny Hill with 3, Anthony Johnson with 2, and Christian Dillard with 2. Jamal Coles adding 2 as well. In terms of rebounding, Jalen Withers leads the way for the Tigers. He's got 6 rebounds as well as 2 huge blocks on the defensive end. Just all over the boards is Jalen Withers as per usual. And then, of course, Anthony Johnson, in his second game of the young season, he's got 4 assists for the Cleveland Heights Tigers. And a much more of an even spread of time of play for the Tigers, as they have 9 different men who have played for the Tigers tonight, seeing action out on the floor. However, on the other side, for the Shaw Cardinals, it has really only been one source of scoring for the Cardinals. It's Jerome Polk, number 12. He has 4 field goals made as well, 3 of them being 3-pointers, and then added 2 free throws as well. He's got 13 points so far. Jaquan Pampley with 7 points as well, and then Randy Harris has 2, Clavion Sanders with 2, and Bernard Manuel with 2 as well. So that's all the scoring for the Shaw Cardinals. The team stats at the half, Cleveland Heights shooting 15 of 29 for 52%, only 2 of 9 from 3 though, however, and 2 of 5 from the free throw line. The Shaw Cardinals are 10 of 22 shooting 45%, 3 of 5 for 60% from the 3-point range, and then 6 of 8 for 75% from the free throw line. The rebounding battle pretty much even, the Tigers with 15 and the Cardinals with 14, each team with 4 offensive rebounds, but a pretty good number for the Tigers is 9 assists in that first half, as opposed to the 4 from the Shaw Cardinals. The Tigers really look to get the ball moving on the offensive end. That's one of their calling cards for Coach Mike Cruz, is when the basketball sticks, you don't get good movement and then you don't get good offense. But luckily for the Tigers, they have turned defense into offense, taking advantage of the 6 Shaw turnovers. There's been 2 blocks from the Tigers as well as 1 steal, turning into 11 points off of turnovers for the Tigers in that first half. So there you have it for the first half stats. Those brought to you by Cleveland Heights Dental. Your first half stats. They accept all insurance plans, including Medicaid. Visit www.cleheightsdental.com or call the number 216-791-5191. That's Cleveland Heights Dental. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors here at HeightsTigers.com for their support in this live broadcast. We are about 5 minutes away from the restart of the second half. Your score is 36-32. The Cleveland Heights Tigers holding on to a 4-point lead. We'll take a quick break here from HeightsTigers.com and be back with you momentarily with the second half. Welcome back to Capoletti Court here at Cleveland Heights High School. Both the Shaw Cardinals and the Cleveland Heights Tigers coming back out from their locker rooms. The score is 36-32. The Cleveland Heights Tigers lead after one half of basketball. A bit of an underwhelming first half for Coach Mike Cruz and the Tigers, knowing that they're capable of taking better care of the basketball as well as making more open shots like they have. And we're about 20 seconds away from the restart of the second half. So recap some of the statistics for the Cleveland Heights Tigers. They are 15 of 29 for 52% from the field, as well as 2 of 9 from three-point range, 22%, and then 2 of 5 for 40% from the free throw line. 2 of those have been areas of concern for Coach Mike Cruz, as he knows this team are very good at shooting the three-point ball as well as free throws, but I think, according to Mike Cruz, he says, I think that they just get in their head a little bit too much and maybe rush their shots, not getting the proper rotation, says Coach Mike Cruz. So that is something to watch going forward in this game as well as the rest of the season for the Cleveland Heights Tigers. Not like the schedule is going to get any easier going forward for the Tigers as they play Warrensville Heights on Friday, as well as in the Fly Into the Hoop tournament Sunday at 4:45 in Dayton. On the restart, Jalen Withers, the baseline pass to Nigel Martin, thought about the corner three-pointer, will drive with the right hand, throws it up there wildly, no good, and rebounded by Clavion Sanders. Sanders quickly ahead to square, unable to handle it, slips nearly with that foot out of bounds, but regains possession. Anthony Johnson nearly steals it away for the Tigers. Sanders throws it away, Withers with it now. He's got 4 on 2. Nigel Martin goes up strong to the basket, no good, but a one-handed rebound by Jalen Withers. Withers now with 12 points, the beautiful one-handed offensive rebound. But the Tigers not back on defense. Sanders gets an easy 2-point basket. 38-34 is now your score. Anthony Johnson, he shuffled the shoes before he got up there. Johnson has struggled a little bit so far. You can read his body language so far. 1 minute gone in the third quarter. Ball is inbounded for the Shaw Cardinals to Jaquan Pampley. Pampley with 6 points, driving with the left hand. Quick layoff pass to Sanders. Sanders to the far corner. Left-handed three-pointer from square, no good. And a foul called. Looks like that'll go on Anthony Johnson, jostling under the hoop there. Indeed it will be, so that's the second foul on Anthony Johnson. Inbound pass to no one in particular, but that ball repossessed by Randy Harris. Harris will dribble handoff to Jaquan Pampley. Pampley at the center circle with 6:30 left to go in the third quarter. Picks up his dribble and passes off to Clavion Sanders. Sanders to Pampley, in and out of his hands, taken away by Dillard. Dillard with numbers, gets it to Withers. Withers jump stop, left-handed layup, puts it up and good. Withers now with 14 points, 40-34. Jerome Polk dribbles at the left wing, guarded by Nigel Martin. And now it's Sanders. Sanders driving in the corner. Pampley wide open three-pointer. Nowhere close. Boy, missed that one by a mile. 40-34. Now Anthony Johnson standing at the point. Not a whole lot of movement so far for the Tigers. Now Johnson will try to create. Drives it himself into the lane. Nigel Martin sets up for a three-pointer. Sets his feet and hits. 43-34, and a quick timeout called by the Shaw Cardinals. So 14 points each for Jalen Withers and Nigel Martin. The Tigers come out with a 7-2 run to begin the second half. Nicely done there from the Tigers in transition. Great job by Anthony Johnson on that last one to give up the ball. He looked like he might have had an open lane, but it would have been tough to force up a shot there had Nigel Martin in the corner, and Martin did a good job to set his feet in the corner. So 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the third quarter. 43-34 Cleveland Heights lead. TJ Square at the point gives this one over to Pampley. Pampley now double teamed by Martin at the free throw line. Square turnaround jump shot. It's good. Good composure there from Clavion Sanders, as well as good composure by Pampley to not panic in that double team. Martin passes to Withers in the corner. Skip pass to Dillard. Three-pointer floats and is way short there. A little bit too much arc on that shot from Dillard. 4:50 left to go in this third quarter. So TJ Square back out to Jerome Polk. Polk into the paint for Sanders. Sanders elevates, puts up the floater, just rims out, and an offensive rebound and one for Randy Harris. So that'll be a third foul on Anthony Johnson. 4 points for Randy Harris. The Tigers in that last game against the Lorain Titans got themselves in a lot of foul trouble. And of course, the Cardinals were in the bonus in the first half there. The Tigers cannot afford to get into foul trouble again. So Randy Harris steps to the line. His free throw is good, so he completes the three-point play, making it 43-39. With 4:30 left to go in the third quarter. Harris Kern back out there for the Tigers. He stops, nearly traveled, gives it to Morgan. Morgan back out at the point. Now drives to the right elbow. Nigel Martin with a little hop step, nearly traveled. Back out to the point. Dillard has it on the left wing. Another skip pass. Martin drives baseline, stops. Will try to bend it around the backboard. He does. It's good. Now we know Nigel Martin can score from anywhere on the court, but you didn't think he could kind of throw it off of the side of the backboard there, as we've got a whistle and looks like the ball will be turned over to the Cleveland Heights Tigers. I believe that was a traveling violation. So Harris Kern at the point, 45-39. The Tigers lead by 6. Rob Morgan at the top of the three-point arc. Dribbles back out with that right hand. Had Martin open, now Harris Kern. Harris Kern into the paint to Dillard. Dillard to Martin. Wants that three-pointer. He puts it up, no good. Good offensive rebound by Harris Kern. Corralled it with one hand and put it off the glass with the floater. 47-39. Harris Kern has got 4. A good energy guy off the bench for the Tigers. Now back the other way, Jerome Polk wildly gets it to Square. Square puts it up too short, but gets his own rebound. And again, no good. But directly over to Randy Harris. And Coach Mike Cruz takes another quick timeout with 3:12 left to go in the third quarter. Credit Randy Harris for sticking around in the paint there, as the Tigers just couldn't corral that offensive rebound. Should be 43 is your score. And of course the Cleveland Heights Marching Band back out here at Capoletti Court. Another great addition for the Heights Tigers, giving the Tigers that home court advantage they always talk about. So with 3:12 left to go in the third quarter, scoreboard still reads 47-41. So I will assume that is correct. Christian Dillard to the left wing. Rob Morgan slashing to the basket and falling to the floor before he makes that layup does Rob Morgan. And now in transition, Square. He's got a 3-on-1. Will take it himself with the Euro step. Can't hit with the layup. Gets his own rebound. Jump stop. And is fouled there on the low post. Jalen Withers begs to differ there. So 49-41, that is the third foul on Jalen Withers. Left-handed free throw, no good from TJ Square. Anthony Johnson checking back in. Harris Kern will check out. Actually, Jalen Withers will check out instead. So the score 49-41. TJ Square, the left-hander, steps back up and knocks that one down. 49-42. Square with 5 points for the Cardinals. It's been an uphill battle all night for the Cardinals with 2:40 left to go in the third quarter. Rob Morgan to Harris Kern. Kern runs over the defender, offensive foul. Great job there by Bernard Manuel. He knew he was in legal guarding position and took advantage of the over-aggressiveness from Harris Kern there. So that will be the first foul on Harris Kern and the fourth team foul already on the Tigers. Tigers back into their full court press. Bernard Manuel easily splits the double team. Harris Kern now guarding Manuel as he stops and pops the three-pointer, no good. Rebounded quickly there by Anthony Johnson. Johnson wants to push, he's across half court. Line drive pass way too far for Harris Kern. Anthony Johnson, that's the second or third time tonight he's tried for one of those laser beam passes and just too far out of reach of one of his teammates. So the ball back to the Cardinals. A lot of pressure in the backcourt, and it looked like it was kicked by Rob Morgan, and it'll go out of bounds off of the Tigers, stay with the Cardinals. And inbound pass knocked away by Rob Morgan, taken by Anthony Johnson. Johnson, no-look pass, runs over the defender. So it's a blocking foul on Bernard Manuel. My condolences to Bernard Manuel getting run over by Anthony Johnson. That's a defensive lineman and a four-star recruit. You just got ran over there. Shades of Zion Williamson last night, Duke versus Syracuse. So 49-42, 2:05 left to go in the third quarter. Rob Morgan to inbound, gets it into Harris Kern. Kern wants that left hand. Anthony Johnson, wide open left wing, just rims out. Boy, those shots can't fall for Johnson. And back now is Pampley. Pampley into the lane. Drop-off pass for Harris, but he shuffled the shoes. So traveling violation on the Cardinals. That'll give it back to the Tigers. Manny Hill now pushing ahead against Pampley. To the corner for Martin. Quick pass to Anthony Johnson. Spin move, no good. Short on the shot there from Johnson. Pampley now pulls up at the free throw line. Shot too strong, can't get the roll. Rebounded by Martin. Martin ahead now to Morgan. Morgan doesn't have the man advantage, but somehow gets it to Harris Kern. Gets his own rebound and is fouled. Morgan looked like he was going up for that shot and then lost the basketball. Somehow able to deflect it over to Harris Kern, where he was able to draw a foul in the paint. That foul will go on Randy Harris. The second foul on the Cardinals of this quarter. But that free throw rims out from Harris Kern. More news from Northeast Ohio High School basketball. The Spire Institute, Spire Academy, defeated the Brush Arcs, giving the Arcs their first loss of the season, as that free throw is no good from Kern. Back the other way, Pampley now, he wants to push it. Spin move against Morgan. Morgan with good hands takes it away, but steps on the end line. What great hands there for Rob Morgan, but unlucky to step on the end line there was the senior captain. To finish that thought, the Spire Academy team won 82-61, giving the Brush Arcs their first loss of the season. Andre Harris for Brush had 28 points, but it was too much for Spire. Rocket Watts had 23 points, as well as Myron Gardner with 23 points, and of course, LaMelo Ball getting all the attention with the 22 points. Back here at Cleveland Heights, there's 60 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Clavian Sanders driving, stops at the low post, turns around, no good on the jump shot, but gets his own miss and follows and puts it in. So the Cardinals in the third quarter doing pretty well on the offensive glass. It's 49-44. Cleveland Heights still hanging on to a 5-point lead. Been pretty even in this third quarter. Cleveland Heights with 13, Shaw with 12. Manny Hill dribbling near the half-court line. The Tigers will hold for that last shot. Now pressuring for the Cardinals. That's Ramon Hassan. 17 seconds left to go in the quarter. Manny Hill is holding it there. Harris Kern, 10 seconds now. Back to Hill. Hill has Martin. Instead, Hill will take the left elbow jump shot. No good. Rebounded by Shaw. 3 seconds left to go in the quarter. Taken away by Morgan. Morgan trying to beat the buzzer. No good. And no chance for an offensive rebound. Morgan upset with himself there. What a helter-skelter situation there at the end of the third quarter. But your score now 49-44 at the end of 3 quarters. We'll get you some stats brought to you by Panini's Coventry. Order any game day menu item. Get 10% off your game day food purchase. Order at Panini's Coventry today. Jerome Polk leading the Shaw Cardinals with 15 points. The next highest scorer, Clavion Sanders, has got 8. Randy Harris has 7. Jaquan Pampley with 7. And Timothy Square the third, TJ Square that is, with 5 points, and Bernard Manuel with 2. So as I mentioned before, in the pregame, only really 5 players with any substantial scoring for the Cardinals. Hard to win with not a lot of depth, but the effort has shown through tonight for the Shaw Cardinals. For the Cleveland Heights Tigers, Nigel Martin leading all scorers with 16 points, and Jalen Withers with 14. Rob Morgan has 6 points. And Harris Kern with 4, Manny Hill with 3, Anthony Johnson with 2, Jamal Coles with 2, as well as Christian Dillard with 2 points. 8 minutes remain here from Cleveland Heights at Capoletti Court. So the ball inbounded for the Cardinals. Out to the right wing. Pampley driving and loses the basketball out of bounds. So it'll be another turnover back to the Tigers. Actually, I take that back. That was Ramon Hassan. Cleveland Heights leading 49-44 here at the beginning of this fourth quarter. Free throw line jump shot from Jalen Davis is good. Doesn't often get a chance to show that range, does Jalen? He's an underclassman. He's only a sophomore. But boy, does he have a bright future in this Cleveland Heights Tigers system. Coach Mike Cruz does a very good job at developing young big men like Jalen Davis as well as Jalen Withers. And that shot airballed there from Jaquan Pampley. Ahead quickly to Davis. Davis to Martin. Runs right past him, does Pampley. Nigel Martin just with the quick pump fake and nothing else to it. Faked out Pampley for the 2 points. 53-44, the Tigers lead. They've got 4 quick points. So back over for Sanders. Sanders driving, nearly untouched, puts the layup off the glass and good. Sanders went strong to the bucket there and took the contact, putting it in. 10 points for Sanders. So back out at the point, Christian Dillard. No pressure, back over to Rob Morgan. Rob Morgan driving, lost the handle, but is fouled on the way up, so he'll head to the free throw line for the Tigers. So Morgan will step to the free throw line. He has struggled as of late, as have really all the Tigers. His first shot up, and it is too strong off the back iron. So the second of 2 shots coming for the Tigers. Morgan steps back to that free throw line. Second one way short and almost misses the rim there. So Sanders back the other way for the Cardinals to Jerome Polk. Score stays at 53-46. Alley-oop attempt, no good. TJ Square not able to handle it. Dillard now in transition, no look pass to Morgan. Double pump and the layup is good, and a technical foul on Morgan. You know, they talk about Coach Mike Cruz, talks about Rob Morgan. You take the good with the bad with that player. Misses 2 free throws, makes a layup in transition, and then on the other way down the court, gets in the face of Jerome Polk with the technical foul and gets a technical foul for taunting. So not only is that a foul on Rob Morgan, his third, that will be the team's 5th foul. First free throw from Polk is up and it is good. So 55-47, second free throw too strong, but gets the friendly rim, does Jerome Polk. Polk has 17 points and it'll stay, the basketball will stay with the Shaw Cardinals. Rob Morgan back out onto the bench for the Tigers. So Polk driving right past Withers, floats it up and good with the left hand. What a shot from Polk, he's got 19 points. Took the contact, avoided the shot blocking arms of Jalen Withers and just kind of floated that one up there low with the left hand. So Mike Cruz calling out Green to his team. They want to do another play. It's designed for Nigel Martin. Martin wanted the post. He'll pull up instead. The jump shot no good. One-handed rebound by Kern. Kern back up there. He's fouled and one. 57-50. Harris Kern goes up strong with the contact and one. Harris Kern with a good 6 points off the bench for the Tigers. So 57-50 is your score. That is the second foul on Tommy Bibb, the team's 4th for Shaw. Harris Kern will step to the free throw line. That free throw, again, no good, rims out. The Tigers really have struggled from there, but into the waiting hands of Jalen Davis. Davis no-look pass to Gregory Pitts, who just checked in. He can't hit the layup. And instead, Harris Kern fouled and one again on the offensive rebound. Boy, back-to-back and ones. That foul this time will be charged to TJ Square. And now a full timeout is called by head coach Reggie Harwell for the Shaw Cardinals. So 59-50 is your score. Biggest lead of the second half for the Tigers. We'll get you some stats here as the Tigers, with 59 points, they are 22 of 42 from the field for 52%, and they are a staggering 3 of 14 for 21% from three-point range, and 3 of 11 from the free throw line for 29%. Just staggering numbers for the Tigers. However, they hold a 9-point lead, and that's all that matters so far at Cappelletti Court. 59-50 with 5:16 left to go. Harris Kern steps to the free throw line, and he hits. So it's back to a double-digit lead for the Tigers. 9 points for Harris Kern off the bench. 60-50 your score. And contact on the other end there. Gregory Pitts, who just checked in. This is a strong defensive lineup for the Tigers, but not one you often see out on the court. Gregory Pitts, Harris Kern, 2 of the better defenders that the Tigers have, as well as Jalen Davis and Nigel Martin, of course. Christian Dillard in there at the point. So now driving Pampley, hangs, floats with the left hand, no good. Rebounded by Christian Dillard. Dillard ahead now, has his pass deflected. And TJ Square had a man wide open. He'll take it himself with 2 hands. 60-52, and a foul on the near side. Looked like Jerome Polk had his hands up and poked Nigel Martin in the face there. So 6 team fouls on the Shaw Cardinals. That'll be the second foul on Bernard Manuel. Checking back in is Jalen Withers for Gregory Pitts. Nigel Martin inbounds to Christian Dillard. 60-52, it's an 8-point lead for the Tigers. Ball deflected out of bounds, TJ Square. And rolls all the way to the opposite corner. So 60-52. Jalen Withers checks back in with 14 points for the Tigers. Nigel Martin leads the way with 18. But most notably, I think maybe Harris Kern with 9 points. Direct inbound to him. And tried to get it to Jalen Davis, but Davis wasn't looking for the ball. Off his fingertips out of bounds. So back now is Bernard Manuel. Manuel at the point with 4:25 left to go. Dribbling now, Sanders. Sanders wants that left hand. Floating shot, rebounded by Harris. The follow is up and it is good. So Randy Harris has been all over the offensive boards for the Cardinals of Shaw. And the ball out on the floor, taken away by the Cardinals. Loose though, Jalen Withers regains possession. To Harris Kern. Harris Kern on the low block. It's good. He's in double digits. Harris Kern's got 11 for the Tigers. That assist to Jalen Withers. And a good block by Jalen Davis on the other end. Kern tried to get it to Dillard, but threw it away, and Coach Mike Cruz imploring his team to slow it down and take care of the basketball. Only 3:36 left to go in the game. Coach Cruz knows that the Tigers can hold on to the basketball and really slow this game down. So back to the Cardinals, ball inbounded to Clavion Sanders. Back to their point guard, Pampley. Pampley tonight has 7 points. TJ Square with 7. Clavion Sanders with 7, but a travel there, a big turnover from TJ Square. Seems like the momentum may be heading back towards the Tigers. Coach Harwell for Shaw wanted a substitution. Instead, it'll be Tigers basketball with 3:15 left to go in this fourth quarter. 62-54 your score. Nigel Martin has the ball. Now driving, an offensive foul. He ran over the defender. Clavion Sanders set his feet, took the contact, and it's an offensive foul on Nigel Martin. So that'll be the seventh team foul. The 7th team foul on the Tigers. 3:08 left to go here in this fourth quarter. Pampley taking this one at the point. Wants the screen from Manuel. Instead, it's given away. Anthony Johnson now in transition. Alley-oop to Jalen Withers. He misses the layup, but Kern, as always, is there to follow. What a night from Harris Kern. He's got 13 points. And now it's Pampley trying to create a shot with 2:40 left to go. It's 64-54. Sanders to Pampley. Right in front of his own bench, guarded by Kern. Goes to that left hand. He stops. The ball is tied up by Harris Kern on defense. It's Tigers basketball. Harris Kern has been all over the court tonight for the Tigers. He's got 13 points, 6 rebounds, and just tied it up and got the ball back for the Tigers. 64-54, 2:30 left to go in the fourth. The Cardinals back into their full court press. Long pass to Martin. Martin back to Dillard, 2:20 left to go. Nearly a 10-second violation. A timeout is called by Coach Mike Cruz. Coach Cruz not happy with his press break there. Takes a full timeout with 2:18 left to go. 64-54 is your score. Cleveland Heights leading. So we'll bring you some stats brought to you by Cleveland Heights Dental. These fourth quarter stats brought to you by Cleveland Heights Dental. They accept all insurance plans, including Medicaid. Visit www.cleheightsdental.com, or you can call 216-791-5194 for all your dental needs. So your fourth quarter stats, it is 64-54. Cleveland Heights now up to 55%. They're 29 of 53 from the field. But most notably, it's been an offensive game for the Tigers for Nigel Martin. He's got 18 points. Jalen Withers with 14. And, of course, Harris Kern. He's got 13 points in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. What incredible show from Harris Kern. He's also got a steal and assist. Got a tie up as well. 4 offensive rebounds. Just tremendous showing from Harris Kern. The senior's one of the best on-ball defenders in Northeast Ohio. Anthony Johnson nearly has it tied up, and he travels. Not the play that you would have drawn up if your coach Mike Cruz out of a timeout. The ball dangerously inbounded to Anthony Johnson, and he couldn't spin out of danger there. So it gives the ball back to the Cardinals, a 10-point deficit. Going right to the basket, and a foul called. Attacking the basket there was Bernard Manuel. Met at the rim by Nigel Martin. Martin was trying to go for that block. However, Manuel will step to the free throw line. The Cardinals down 10. 2:10 remaining here in this fourth quarter. And that free throw barely grazes the rim from Shaw. That was Bernard Manuel. Second shot coming here. Manuel with 2 points, trying to make it 3. And he misses both, but he gets his own rebound. Behind the back dribble, now drives the lane. Too strong on the layup. And again, he tries for it, no good. Manuel just can't buy one right now for the Cardinals. So under 2 minutes remaining, Johnson to Dillard in the backcourt. Dillard, left-handed pass to Martin. Back over to Dillard at the point to Manny Hill. A minute 48 left to go in this game. It's a 10-point deficit. Hill now driving with the left hand, avoids the pressure. He's got Kern in the post. Instead, Hill will dribble it back out to the point. It's nearly intercepted and taken by Anthony Johnson. A foul in the backcourt. That foul there from Randy Harris. Coming with a minute 35 left to go in this game, Anthony Johnson will step back to the free throw line. And Anthony Johnson will head to the free throw line after this timeout taken by head coach Reggie Harwell for the Shaw Cardinals. It's a full timeout. That foul, by the way, was charged to TJ Square, his second, putting the Tigers in the bonus with 7 team fouls on the Cardinals. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors here at HeightsTigers.com. Make sure that you follow us on all social media. Twitter at GoHeightsTigers. On Instagram, Heights Tigers. And then, of course, be sure to tune in on this YouTube page, this live stream that we're doing. We'd like to thank everyone who's tuned in and listening. And make sure that you stay up to date. You can visit HeightsTigers.com for all of your sports information, news, and alerts on the Cleveland Heights Tigers athletics. So 64-54 is your score here at Capoletti Court. Leading the way for the Cleveland Heights Tigers is Nigel Martin with 18 points. Jalen Withers has got 16 points as well. Jalen Withers has 16 points, and Harris Kern with 13 points. Stepping to the free throw line will be Anthony Johnson. He takes 2 dribbles. The first one is up. It's short and no good. Misses the front end of the 1-and-1. So that is Polk. Polk driving, loses the ball, and Anthony Johnson falls on him there at the end. So the ball turned over to the Heights Tigers with 1:28 left to go in the game. Back into the press break go the Tigers. Inbounded precariously to Hill. Hill is fouled in the backcourt. Boy, this is going to be a real focus for the Tigers in practice. Coach Mike Cruz not happy with his team's performance on the press break, but nonetheless, Manny Hill will step to the free throw line. A 10-point lead with 1:26 left to go. Manny Hill will shoot 1 and 1. So a sub coming on, that's Jaquan Pampley checking in for Bernard Manuel. So Manny Hill steps to the free throw line. The first one too strong and no good. Tigers really have scuffled from the free throw line lately. Cardinals back the other way now, a minute 20 left to go in the game. And Anthony Johnson going for the steal is called for the reaching foul. That's Johnson's fourth. And that'll send the Cardinals to the free throw line, as that's the fourth foul on Anthony Johnson and the 9th team foul on the Tigers. A minute 16 left to go here from Cleveland Heights. Stepping to the free throw line, Sanders, his free throw no good, fought for and out of bounds off of the fingertips of Harris Kern. So it's been very sloppy here in the last few minutes of this fourth quarter. 64-54 is your score. Quick inbound to Jerome Polk. Polk steps back for 3 points. No good. Rebounded, skied for by Manny Hill, the smallest guy on the floor. Great strong rebound there by Manny Hill, the junior. And he gets fouled, so he'll head to the free throw line with 1:06 left to go. Hill missed the front end on the last trip down there. So Manny Hill steps to the free throw line. His first shot is up, and it is good. So that'll make it 65-54, an 11-point lead. Largest lead of the second half for the Tigers. Second one, no good from Manny Hill. Sanders dribbling now and spinning with 60 seconds left to go. Pulls up from the free throw line. His jumper no good. And rebounded by Anthony Johnson. Johnson is fouled from behind there by Jerome Polk. 54.4 seconds left to go. And it's become a foul fest here at Cleveland Heights. That's the third foul on Jerome Polk. It'll send Anthony Johnson to the free throw line. He's shooting 2. Johnson takes 2 dribbles and launches. It's good. And you can see on his face there, happy to pull one through for the Tigers. Had a couple of tough free throws there at the end of that game against Lorraine a couple of nights ago. His second free throw is also good. Good to see there from Anthony Johnson. 67-54 with 50 seconds left to go. Now Cleveland Heights leading, and a timeout is called by the Shaw Cardinals. So it's a full timeout from the Shaw Cardinals. We'll take a quick break here. Under a minute remaining here from Cleveland Heights. The Tigers leading 67-54. So 48.5 seconds left to go. Inbound pass stolen by Anthony Johnson, and smartly he'll dribble it out with 43 seconds left before being fouled. Johnson passed up that open shot there to run some more time off the clock. Instead, he'll head to the free throw line. The Cardinals still fouling with 41.2 seconds left to go in a 13-point deficit. So Anthony Johnson hits his third free throw in a row. Good to see for the Tigers. That'll make it 68-54. Johnson with 5 points. And yet again, Anthony Johnson hits from the free throw line, so 4 straight free throws for Anthony Johnson. Pampley the other way now for the Tigers. Kicks it back out to TJ Square. Three-pointer nowhere close. And Anthony Johnson fouled yet again in the backcourt. Johnson getting a lot of practice from the free throw line from his charity stripe. And the Cleveland Heights cheerleaders have brought out the brooms, as you can see, for the sweep of the Shaw Cardinals. Friendly rivalry here on the east side of Cleveland. And Anthony Johnson hits his 5th in a row. So the Tigers will see these Shaw Cardinals again, this time at Shaw at 15320 Euclid Avenue on February 15th. 6 free throws made in a row by Anthony Johnson. That'll make it 71-54. As Anthony Johnson heads to the bench, he lets out a big sigh of relief. 30 seconds left now as the Cardinals dribble down. Randy Harris will take a shot, and he is fouled. Just to extend this game some more, 24.5 seconds left. Anthony Johnson exited the game with 8 points, by the way. 71-54 is your score. Randy Johnson will step to the free throw line. He's got 2 shots coming. That foul on Christian Dillard puts the Cardinals into the bonus. So 2 shots coming here for the Cardinals. Harris, first free throw short and no good. He grabs his own rebound, but forgot it was a 2-shot penalty. So at 71-54, we shall see if the Cardinals elect to foul again here. Harris's second free throw is up, and that is good. So 71-55. Ball is inbounded to Manny Hill. Christian Dillard in the backcourt. 20 seconds left now, and that should be the end of it. Manny Hill dribbling it, will go up for the layup, no good. And the Cardinals get the rebound back the other way with 10 seconds left now. The Tigers will not foul as the Cardinals missed that shot, so this should be your final score, 71-55. And it will be as your Cleveland Heights Tigers come out victorious in this Lake Erie League victory, 71-55. And as you can see, a lot of tension going on here inside this gym as Cleveland Heights win this game 71-55 and advance in their Lake Erie League standing. Shaw falls to 3-8, and they fall to 0-4 in Lake Erie League play. So now the Tigers are 7-4 heading into their game this Friday. They will play against Warrensville Heights. And then, of course, on Sunday they will play at 4:45 in Kettering, Ohio they will play at 4:45 this Sunday against Cincinnati Hughes, the Big Red of Hughes, in the Flying to the Hoops tournament. So your final scorers, as you are now inside the Nova Title Agency post-game show, your final score being 71-55. individual stats for the Cleveland Heights Tigers. Nigel Martin with 18 points, Jalen Withers with 14 points, Harris Kern with 13, Rob Morgan with 8, and Anthony Johnson with 8 as well. So it was a pretty even spread of points for the Tigers. And, of course, not necessarily a great showing for the Tigers in the second half. But that means you're now inside the Nova Title Agency post-game show. We'd like to thank all of you for listening here on Cleveland Heights at Cleveland Heights High School at HeightsTigers.com. We'll now take a quick break here inside the Nova Title Agency halftime post-game show, and we'll be back with you with final thoughts in just a moment. And we are back here at Cleveland Heights inside the Nova Title Agency postgame show as your Cleveland Heights Tigers emerge victorious over the Shaw Cardinals 71-55. And it was an interesting game from the very beginning. At halftime, Cleveland Heights only with a 4-point advantage, leading 35-31 in the first half. Cleveland Heights with 4 turnovers in the first half as well as 4 turnovers in the second half. But the Tigers able to cobble it together in the second half, as Coach Mike Cruz would say, and put in all the effort that they needed in the second half to emerge victorious. The effort plays from Anthony Johnson, Robert Morgan, as well as Harris Kern coming off the bench really gave the Tigers the spark that they needed to defeat the Shaw Cardinals, a local rival and a league rival that they've been playing for years. So each team knows each other pretty well, so important for those hustle plays and those hustle players like Harris Kern to come off of the bench for the Tigers. Some final stats for you tonight. The Cleveland Heights Tigers had 71 points on 29 of 54 from the floor, but they really struggled from three-point range as well as from the free throw line. From three-point range, they were 20%. They were 3 of 15, and then from the free throw line, they shot sub 50% at 10 of 21. 7 assists coming off for the Tigers was a bright spot for the Tigers, but then, of course, 8 turnovers, most of them coming in that second half for the Tigers, something that they have to clean up when they head into their game against Warrensville Heights for Coach Mike Cruz. And then, of course, their game this Sunday with great talent of the Cincinnati Hughes Big Red when they play in the Flying to the Hoops tournament. On the other side, the Shaw Cardinals, not a lot of depth. We talked about that in the pregame show, the Nova Title Agency pregame show. Not a lot of depth, so that you knew that they was going to come from a lot of scoring from Pampley as well as Sanders as well. So 19 points coming from Jerome Polk for the Shaw Cardinals, and not a whole lot else. 10 points were added by Randy Harris as well as Clavion Sanders, but that was about it for the scoring for the Cardinals. The Shaw Cardinals had 55 points on 19 of 45 from the field. They were 42%, and then they were 3 of 10 from three-point range, as well as 14 of 21 for 67% from the free throw line. The Cleveland Heights Tigers, though, however, took advantage of the 11 turnovers from the Shaw Cardinals and basically that was the game in the second half. Was Cleveland Heights came out with a 7-2 run immediately out of the locker room in the second half, and they never really looked back from there, leading to a 16-point lead here at Cleveland Heights. The final score from Cleveland Heights, 71-55. Cleveland Heights advanced to 7-4 on this young season, and they'll be back in action this Friday. We'll have the game for you against Warrensville Heights. Live broadcast, you can follow that on this YouTube live stream. Go to youtube.com and type in CHUH Schools. Should be there. Cleveland Heights boys basketball versus Warrensville Heights. You can also find it at heightstigers.com. Be sure to follow us on all social media, on Twitter at GoHeightsTigers, and on Instagram, heightstigers.com. Thank you so much, everybody. Your final score, 71-55. Cleveland Heights Tigers emerge victorious. Hope everyone has a good night, and go Heights Tigers.